Hi, my name is George Zhao, and this is Just Tack.
You're now a Logie-nominated actor.
I'm still wrapping my head around it.
I don't think I would have booked my role in Neighbours if it wasn't for you.
I gone for the same character, I think, at the time.
I had Leo and you had David.
I felt so entitled.
Oh man, it's so good. Before we get stuck into today's conversation, I want to thank the official beauty partner of Just Tack, beautyboat.com. They have supported us from the very beginning, and they are stepping into this new era with us. Whether you are looking for Egyptian Magic Beauty Cream, the By Terry and Tan Luxe ranges, or their legendary Discovery boxes, they curate absolute Tier 1 products. For our long-time listeners, the legacy code is still active. Use BIN25, BIN25 at checkout for 25% off your entire order. Head to beautyboat.com today, and thank you for supporting the brands that support this platform. G'day, g'day, g'day! This is Just Tack and George Zhao. 10 years ago, George and I met on the set of The Family Law, a show that rocketed his career but left his ego completely unchecked. Today, he is a Logie-nominated actor for his standout role in Ghosts. But getting to that nomination required him to completely dismantle his identity and step right up to the edge of quitting the industry entirely. We get into the brutal reality of tying your self-worth to applause and the massive mental toll that takes when the phone stops ringing. George opens up about the crippling imposter syndrome that followed his early success, his time working in children's hospitals as a clown doctor, and how realizing that casting is not a competition completely changed his trajectory. Now, if you want to support us, please join our Patreon. There is a growing amount of exclusive content there, as well as a growing community. So get amongst it, bin chickens. Haven't called you that for a while, have I? And of course, hit the button. Hit the button. Hit the button. The subscribe or follow button, that is. Just do it. Just tack it. Just hit the button. It's so easy. Why haven't you hit the button? Come on, man. Hit the button. Just hit the button. I don't know why I'm doing that. All right, let's get into it. I'm just Takaya Honda, and this is George Zhao. What brought you to Melbourne?
Oh, just a bit of a change, I think, for me. Because, yeah, we met on Family Law.
Which is like 10 years ago now, which blows my mind.
Crazy, yeah. No, I just felt like I'd been in Sydney most of my life. And it was getting to the point where I'm like, am I going to be here for the rest of my life? Or do I want to go and try perhaps a different country? But I'm like, nah, I still got stuff to do here. So I'm like, halfway. Like today, it's been freezing, right? And I was told before I came here that the wind bites. It's not just a normal wind. Like if you're wearing anything that the wind can get through, it will nip you. Like it will. And I'm like, it kind of wakes me up, that cold. So.
This isn't even like, how long have you been here?
I've only been here, believe it or not, for about just over a month.
Yeah, so this isn't even like, this is just scratching the surface now.
Right.
What you'll find is the temperature here could be the same temperature in Sydney, but it is so much colder. It is so much colder because they've got the wind coming from like the Antarctic kind of thing, you know, and it's just, it gets you, especially when you're filming and like you're shirtless and stuff. So much fun. So yeah, when you say you like the cold, don't necessarily bring that in from the universe too much.
Yeah, I might take it back for now, and then when I feel it, and then I'll come back and make my decision then.
But that's cool to come down to Melbourne, have a bit of change. I think that's always a good thing to do. We both grew up in Sydney. What was it like growing up for you in Sydney?
So I actually was born and. Up until the age of 9, I was in New Zealand. So I was born in New Zealand.
I did see that you played a role as a New Zealander. So now it all makes sense.
Yes. So I was born in New Zealand, moved over here when I was 9. And kudos to my mum. Like she came over here, didn't really speak English that well at the time. So we bounced around from like housing commission place to housing commission place. So I've been like, in terms of Sydney, I feel like I've been all over the shop. Like CBD, out west. I don't actually remember much about New Zealand. I just remember it being really clean. Like That's really all I remember. I remember coming to Australia for the first time and being like, there's a lot of litter all over the place, but I think it's mainly because of where I was living. I was like, wow, okay. Um, but yeah, I've gone back to New Zealand since, and I think it was just like little George and his view of things.
So you came to Australia, and when did the performance stuff start?
I did a school dance or play or something where I played a lion that got killed and then taken off the stage. And then my teacher was like, hey, you were really good at that.
You were great at dying.
You're great at dying. Do more of that. And she was like, this was when the Lion King Broadway show first came to Australia. And she was like, you should audition. They've got, they're looking for a Simba. It was in the paper.
Yeah.
And she gave the paper to my mum, and my mum was like, yeah, let's do it. And so we rock up to the audition place, and you've got all these people with their agent, like, they've got agents, their parents are there, and they're all ready. And I'm just like there with my mum, who doesn't really speak. Keep in mind, my mum's English isn't great at this point.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if this is like a fabricated memory, but I remember the lady being like, name an agent. And my mum was like, a what? And she was like, agent. And I'll just put you down as no agent. And I did actually quite well at that audition, all the way up to, I think I was one of 6 Simbas. And I was there dancing with the Nalas and singing. And at this point, I was not self-conscious at all. I wasn't self-aware. I was just having fun. And it was also during this moment that I became self-aware, that I became aware of like,
now you choose it?
yeah, no, that's exactly it. I'm like, man, at least let me finish this Broadway run. But yeah, it was during a moment where I made a mistake, and I forgot exactly what the mistake was. I think I laughed at the wrong time or something like that, and my brain clicked into, you shouldn't have done that. That was a mistake.
Shame came in.
Yeah, shame came in, and suddenly I became self-aware, and suddenly I couldn't sing anymore. I couldn't dance anymore, and I'm like, oh no, I just became hyper aware. And I remember after that audition process, I wasn't called back again. And that's my earliest memory of performance. And then didn't perform until about year 10, I would say, when the So You Think You Can Dance movement started happening, and everyone was watching that. And, dance became a big thing. And I'm like, that's what I'm going to be. I'm going to be a dancer.
Had you been dancing up until that point?
No, I wasn't dancing at all. But
For like 15-year-old George was like, I think I can just start and I'll do that now.
That's exactly what happened. There's no joke there. There's no joke. I literally watched
so good.
Yeah, literally watched So You Can Dance, and I'm like, that's what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna be a dancer. And my mum used to be a dancer, and this was the one thing that she was 100% on board with, which was very, like, it surprised me. I told her that I wanted to be a dancer, and she was like, do it. You've got the body for it. You've got to be a dancer. And I'm like, oh, okay.
What sort of dancer was she?
Contemporary and ballet.
Cool. Oh, that's awesome.
But I wanted to do hip hop and breakdance because I wanted to be cool, like, that cool. And what ended up happening was the school that I was at didn't offer dance. And there was only one school in Sydney at the time that offered dance as a HSC subject. It used to be a half TAFE, half high school called Bradfield Senior College.
Oh, yes.
They were like, yeah, we'll do a bit of everything. We'll do a bit of I was lied to. It was fully contemporary and ballet. And so I did 2 years of contemporary and ballet, having absolutely no skills in it. And
For the HSC.
For the HSC. And it also was the thing that I'm like, I don't want to do dance anymore. I don't want to do dance anymore. So You Think You Can Dance got me into dance, and then I did it, and then did 2 years of it, and was forced to do 2 years of it because of my own choices, and then went, I don't think this is for me. But it was also during this period of time that I actually fell in love with acting. So I took a gap year after I graduated because I didn't quite know what I wanted to do. And the story here gets a little bit sidewindy, but like, I took a gap year because while I was at Bradfield, I also became a very devout Christian. I met a couple of friends who were very devout Christian. They invited me to church. And when you're young and during that age is a very informative age of like identity and community and that kind of stuff. And I clicked into that Christian community very well because what the Christian community actually does very well is that it allows people to join them very easily. If you want to, you can join whatever church community, and they're usually very open and welcoming to it.
Yep.
And then became a devout Christian, started ministry training. That I took a gap year because I was essentially um doing an apprenticeship to become an Anglican minister.
Oh, wow.
And then it was also during this period because the guy that I was learning from, he was a chaplain to the arts. And
Mhm.
then he took me to a Christian performing arts university, which is now called Excelsior, but at the time it was Wesley Institute. And I went in there with him once and I saw like the classes, I saw what they were doing, and I just went, I want to do this. Yeah, I want to do this. And then the following year, I enrolled and then just kind of stopped the ministry training halfway through and then just did the course.
What happened after graduating?
I was lucky enough to land an agent from my grad show.
Yep.
And for those of, for your viewers and listeners, like there is the grad season where agents go to these performing arts schools and they are essentially scouting. And you may get an agent through that or you may not. It's not the be all and end all, but when you're a young actor and you get scouted and you get an offer, the ego hit, the feeling of being like, your chest puffs out a little bit. Like I now have an agent straight out of
Next step,
school.
Hollywood.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, it's just like just hand me my Oscar now.
And
Uh,
the converse of not getting the agent then
Yeah,
is
yeah,
equally, the feeling just as strong, but in the opposite direction. Yeah.
exactly. I landed a role with Opera Australia, believe it or not,
Oh, wow.
on Aida on the Harbour, and really well paid. And it was during that period of time that I also auditioned and got family law.
Oh, wow.
And so straight out, graduating the year after, uh, went straight from this large opera production where I got to see the ins and outs of like major sets and
Massive. Opera
mm,
sets are the next level. Yeah.
crazy, yeah. And the amount of money that goes into it, I actually got to see the machinations behind the scenes
Mm.
as well. And then from there went straight into family law. So during that period of time, my ego was unchecked. It was a wildfire of like, yeah. And it was that like next stop Hollywood kind of thing of being
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
at this pace.
From the outside, if people would look at your credits, because you've had some good credits along the way, you're now, I should have said it at the start, but it'll be in the intro that you don't get to hear me say. But you're now a Logie nominated actor, which
Yeah,
is no small deal. Really, it isn't. So congratulations, because that's
thank you.
amazing.
Yeah. I'm still wrapping my head around it a little bit because since getting that call, I've hit a lot of imposter syndrome, and that feeling of like, wait, what? What? Do I really deserve this? Which is, a total flip from, had I got this news during that family law period
Yeah,
when
right.
that ego was unchecked.
What makes the imposter syndrome creep in?
I went through a period of quite a hard time. Uh, and it was during this period of time that uh, I started seeing a psychologist. I started to actively seek therapy, and it was also the thing that kind of made me aware of a lot of the things that I was unhappy about for myself and why I became an actor in the first place. Through that experience and kind of understanding myself a little bit more, I found myself not really needing that validation anymore, which kind of diminished a lot of the ambition for acting as well. So
Mm-hmm.
I'd get auditions and I'd read it and I wouldn't be excited. And I'd just be like, I have to put this audition down. Yeah, hey, can you help me? And I kind of found myself in that zone. And even when I was booking work, I'd be on set and I wouldn't be enjoying myself. I would
Mm.
be so overly aware of other people and judgment. And yeah, so there was a period of time that I was really considering quitting. was probably at that line, and I just needed that one last step. And then I landed Ghosts, and it was during Ghosts that I had the best time, I would say, since Family Law, actually, that I had on a set. I was looking forward to getting on set rather than like being riddled with anxiety. And it was on that set where I'm like, actually, no, if performing, if acting can still give me this, if acting can still give me this excitement, this creative, that creative excitement of being like, oh, this would be a great line to come after this thing, or like, what is the character trying to do here? That would be really funny if that happened. That made me kind of go, actually, maybe I should stick with it a little bit longer because I'm still enjoying it and I still love it.
What was the thing that allowed you to enjoy Ghosts?
I've been on some sets, and I'm not calling anyone out here, but I've been on some sets where everyone is very much focused on themselves, right? They're not too, and like I'm a part of that as well, where when we're on set, sometimes we can get a little bit self-absorbed of this is what I need and I need it right now. And when you're in a set where everyone is doing that, if you stick your head up and you kind of start to try and connect with people, you realize just how lonely it is sometimes if you have no one who is actively trying to talk to people and whatnot. And I found myself hitting just those moments. And again, there's no one specific situation where this was happening. I just felt like it was just the general vibe. And on Ghost, there was just none of that. Everyone was looking out for each other. And it was because everyone was looking out for each other. There wasn't a single moment where you felt like, oh, I'm not being looked after here because everyone's looking out for everyone. Your cup is always filled. It's always filled, regardless of how tired you are. And Ghosts will inform how I want to be on sets from this moment forward. And it is
the culture you want to drive on a set.
Exactly. Regardless of the kind of set that I am on, I want to be that person for other people.
Which is an amazing lesson to learn, to be able to be like, okay, when I step on a set now, like I'll talk for myself here. When I step on a set now, I know that I'm going to step on the set and I will be a leader in how the culture is. I will lead in the way of bringing myself to the crew, bringing myself to the other cast, and setting a standard of how we treat each other and how the energy I'm going to bring to you all. And that might not work with everyone, but at least it sets a standard.
And you do better work.
Well, case in point, Logie nomination.
Yeah. 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 Did you want to see the small dog? The small dog has come and visited me.
We can have a small dog intermission.
You can.
Oh my God! What a cutie!
So this is Evie.
Hi, Evie.
She's super sassy and very cold right now.
You are so cute. You would definitely be like, why did we come to this cold place, Dad? But you get to wear a cute jumper.
Yeah,
oh my God. How was your response different between booking the Family Law and booking Ghosts?
Okay, so when I booked the Family Law, I felt so entitled. There was a real sense of like, it's because I'm good. That's why I got it. It's because I deserve this because I am good. Yeah. I cannot really express just how much the ego was controlling a lot of my behavior during that time. Whereas when I got Ghosts, I was actually quite anxious about it. I wasn't as excited as I thought I would be because it meant that I had to go back onto a set. And I had been, up until that point, I had suffered from a lot of anxiety being on a set. And I just went, oh no, I got to be on a set. So it was mixed. It was like I was really excited in the way that I had now booked a job. And that's just overall exciting. But then also the undertones of, do I want to do it?
And correct me if I'm wrong, we were shooting in WA?
WA, Perth.
Yeah, so you were going away somewhere for a while, I'm assuming. So that in and of itself is anxiety inducing.
Yeah. and I'd never been to Perth, so it was very exciting in that capacity. Like I was like, oh, I get to go and see Perth. Never got to see a quokka, unfortunately.
You didn't go to the island,
I
Rottnest?
didn't
Oh
know.
man, it's so
I
good. Is there going to be a season 2? Do we know yet?
We don't know yet. There is no definitive answer. Um, I don't see why not.
It being sold to the BBC is surely a good thing.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I have a lot of I have so much love for that show. So if it does go to a season 2, I wouldn't feel that anxiety that I felt before landing it in season 1. But so I think that kind of response to landing those two things, it told me a lot about where I was at
Mm.
rather than the job itself. I kind of had already made my mind that, not made my mind, but I was right at that line of going I don't really even know if this is the thing that I want to do anymore. So when I was on the set, I was just doing stuff. I was just I don't I might be judged for this. I'll just do it. And then I did it
Mm.
and people loved it and kept it in. And then there's a couple of moments that it made the cut. So if you watch the show, there's moments in there where I'm like, oh man, I thought about that. I thought about that while I was eating dinner, and I just went, I'm gonna try it tomorrow on set and see if they keep it. And they did, and I just went, that's just yeah, all right,
Well, I was going to
fantastic.
say that too, because I watched I think 4 or 5 eps this morning of the
Mm.
show, because the thing that I was supposed to do before this got cancelled, and which is why I asked to start half an hour later. But then I was like, oh, it's kind of good. It gives me some time to watch. And your entire role is kind of these kind of weird non sequitur bits, but your commitment to it has to be so 100% all the time for them to work.
I think mentally, you can't be too smart about it. And I think that was my challenge, was because I'm a bit of an overthinker. It kind of graded against the character a little bit. If you
Mhm.
overthink, you have to overthink it in a way that is strange to everyone else, right? So if everyone else is overthinking one way, you have to, the way you explain the overthinking, if I was June, would be in a way that no one is like, why would you even think about that thing, about this thing?
Yeah. If they ask you
Uh,
the question, you actually have a whole
oh,
weird
it's like he's so
tangent. How do you...
smart in the most stupid way. He's like, there's a
Well,
reason
no one
why I
thinks
did
they're
that.
stupid, right?
No, 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 no. That's the thing. You can't play him as if he's dumb, because he doesn't. June, for him, is the smartest person in the room. He comes in and
Yeah.
everyone else is weird to him,
Yeah.
So
How can't they see what I see?
yeah, I know. Why aren't you guys getting up and running around in circles? I based my character off a ginger cat, because a ginger cat feels like it should have all the dexterity of a cat, but all the clumsiness of a ginger cat. So it is very fast and can jump and whatnot, but it will stack it every time. And
Yeah.
so I based June off a ginger cat. Technically, he should be really good at something. He does it, and he is kind of good, but he always something is off about it. There's no part of them that goes, I've stacked it the last 6 times. Maybe I should be careful now. It's like, nah, it's just like the last 6 times don't count. This is the first time. Let's go.
Which I think leads to how this Logie nom came as well, because your execution of these lines and what you've got to do on screen makes sense completely from the audience perspective, that this character utterly believes these things and doesn't see the failure in logic that's occurring,
No.
because for June the logic makes sense.
Perfect sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's everyone else is strange.
So since what we've been talking about in terms of that period between gigs, and how you've been feeling, you wrapped on Ghosts. How's it been for you since wrapping Ghosts till now?
There was a bit of a rest period after Ghosts. So the thing that gave me a lot of joy, the thing outside of acting that also informed acting. Over the last 5 years, I've worked with an organization called the Humor Foundation as a clown doctor.
Oh
So
wow!
we work in children's hospitals, and I did this in Sydney, and I worked across Sydney in a variety of different children's hospitals and so, some certain hospice facilities as well. Hospice facilities, yeah.
Yeah, for
Um,
palliative care. Yeah.
yeah, you're working in a very sensitive environment as a clown. There's a reason why I'm bringing this up. So during the period after Ghost, I went back to doing that. And when I decided to move, when I decided to kind of come to Melbourne, a lot of the time between Ghosts ending and me coming to Melbourne was me just juggling that, of like, do I attempt to continue, because the Human Foundation work across the board. They work all over Australia. And they have a team here in Melbourne as well, which unfortunately is a full team. So they didn't have space for me to move down. So then it was the really hard decision of going, I think I'm going to have to leave this organization because I'm moving to Melbourne. And so it was that period of, it was kind of that happened. And then moving to Melbourne, I had to go, well, what do I want to do as work while I'm in Melbourne when I'm not working as an actor? And that was a question as well. So currently, I'm doing a few things. I'm studying a diploma of counselling.
Oh,
I
wow.
am working as at an insurance call center. My good friend Jackson Tozer, who I met on Ghosts, worked for a company called the Community Care Collective, and it is about empowering people with disabilities to live full and joyous lives, and to do activities that they might not be able to do by themselves.
Yeah,
And
amazing.
to, give them also the capacity to do these activities as well in spaces that's safe for them,
Yeah.
with people who are not. So I've been very lucky enough to be invited to kind of do that with them as well. So since moving to Melbourne, it's been a pretty full on, but yeah, studying diploma counselling, working at this insurance company, and starting up at the Community Care Collective.
Amazing.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I've been doing between like the end of Ghosts and now.
What a beautiful thing to be doing. You can't, I can't imagine you could do that work and step away from it saying you've wasted your time. You know what I mean? The extra value, alongside with the clowning side of things as well. The things that you're capable of bringing to people, communicating to people, making people understand, is of a higher level than other people. Just by the nature of what you're capable of doing, which is at an exceptional level.
I'm gonna say a lot of the clown doctors that I worked with, right? They come from different walks of life. And going into it as an actor, there is this sense of like, I'm gonna be very good at this job. Like I remember when I first auditioned, which was during the
Yeah.
COVID period, I thought to myself, I've got clowning experience. I'm a theater trained like actor. I could do this. It was such a steep learning curve. And after like 5 years in the job, when I was leaving, I still didn't feel like I fully had a grasp on the gig. And some of the clown doctors in there have been working for the clown doctor organization for 12 and 13 years. And you watch them,
Wow.
and some of them aren't necessarily coming from specifically acting backgrounds, but they are amazing. They are just the most skilled people in that area. And it's not something that you can just you can't just put that you can't just put that job opening on Seek and expect to find people like that. These people have been in, like, it's such a valuable skill that I just kind of want to put it out into the ether, into the public. It is something that people don't think about, but it is such a valuable and unique skill. And I'm just so fortunate and grateful to have been a part of that for the period of time that I was a part of that. And it kind of didn't really have any connection to my acting. I kind of looked at them and I just went, they've got all the skills of like a theater trained actor, but some of them aren't like theater trained actors. And I'm just like, you've learned all of this on the job.
And how's everyone reacted to in your in the world of yours outside of acting? How have they reacted to your Logie nomination, or have you not told them?
No, they know. They're really proud. Mum's really proud. She's, going around telling people, and and I'm glad I've done something to give her that feeling, because I think, you tell an Asian mum that you're going to be an actor.
Because it's so different to being a dancer.
Yeah. I think for her, she's still like, every so often she still goes, if you ever want to be a dancer. And I go, maybe sometime in the future.
I saw a photo on your Insta where you were you do a jump. You were in like a jump split situation, and
Yes.
it was a
Yeah.
pretty good jump split. Like,
Hey, I did do 2 years of contemporary and ballet and kind of got through it. So, not that I enjoyed it all too much, but I did learn the skills.
do you know who you're up against for the Logies?
I do. I haven't. Okay, I'm going to be honest. I haven't looked at it too much, not because of the other contestants, but because I still have a weird thing seeing myself in that bracket. I'm like, I don't know what it is yet. I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure out what that is.
It's Ben Miller Austin, which I haven't seen Austin. Leon Ford, Dog Park, who's a fantastic actor, and he wrote Dog Park as well. Matt Day in Strife, Michael Teo in Austin, and Steve Bisley in Deadlock.
I sometimes go, I think this is a part of like the imposter syndrome. I look at this list and I haven't met any of these other actors before. And I go, am I meant to be like, it's just that moment of going like, am I in the right place? Like you walk into a room and you're like, oh man, sorry. I was told to be here and like not, yeah, that confidence that comes with entering a room. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure everyone else would say to you, and I'm going to say to you again, you definitely deserve to be on that list.
Yeah.
How you came to be there is anyone's guess of how that works, but it doesn't matter. In the same way that when you book a role, how you ended up there, it's anyone's guess somehow you ended up there. And actually, here's a thing that I thought about, which I was going to say at the start, but then forgot about it. I don't think I would have booked my role in Neighbours if it wasn't for you.
I remember. Yeah, we were going for the same character. I think at the time.
I think we went. I can't remember who had who, but I'm pretty sure I had Leo and you had David, and then we were just like, why don't we put? Or maybe you had both, and then you gave me David as well, and so then we put down both.
Yeah, I don't remember. Like I remember, we did the self tape together, but I don't remember the specifics.
But I think that I'm pretty sure I don't know which character it was, but I'm pretty sure I was only sent one of the characters, but you had both. And so I was like, I'm pretty sure you said, well, just put down both. Who cares? And so then we did both. And
fantastic.
Then, like, to a degree, I mean, when we were auditioning for the callbacks and stuff, you had to do both roles anyway. But I had only been given one. So I could have missed out if it wasn't for you. So it's a big thanks to you that I booked Neighbours.
Well, I do take a commission, and
you didn't get it in the mail. Australia Post. Oh God, yeah.
No, but I remember being so stoked for you, Tak. I remember the moment that came through. I'm like, I'm so fucking stoked. Yeah, and then again, this is where I kind of come in. I have to apologize just because I kind of just dropped off the face of the earth because I was going through my own little mental health thing. So.
Everyone drops off the face of the earth all the time as an actor because we have these such intimate relationships. Like you said, you can step onto a set, and if it's the right kind of set, like Family Law was, where you create this family who are all turning up with a desire not only to have a second season, but to put everything they have to create this world, these characters, this story, all together, and we're all serving this one thing, and we're working as a team towards it rather than trying to serve ourselves or whatever. And so you go into those environments, and then they end, and the intimacy you'd felt for months is gone, or in the case of Neighbours, years, and it just ends. And I'll give someone a call and go, hey, we'll have a good chat. But I used to see them every single day. Yeah. And I'm not going to call them every single day because it'd probably get annoying. But if I saw them every day, then we'd have a chat and find out, what'd you do last night? What'd you watch? Did you watch this thing? Or whatever, you know? So you're in these, and also then you're on set being incredibly vulnerable or intense or whatever with each other. And it's a strange environment that we dip in and out of. And so not at all. Like my perception of you in that sense was not that at all. And I hope that your perception of me was not that either, because I remember we saw each other at was a premiere of something.
Premiere of Fantastic Four, where
Yes.
we were shown the first 15 minutes, or like a
Yes.
15-minute clip.
Clip thing. It was very bizarre.
Yeah,
Such a
yeah,
strange thing.
yeah.
It did make me excited for the movie, and I still
Mm,
haven't seen it.
mm.
But regardless of that, but I saw you then, and I was like,
Mm,
oh my god, George, let's get and just chat and whatever. Because I guess how I approach it in that sense of like and maybe I see it listed as an ADHD thing, and I'm not diagnosed with ADHD, of that relationships freeze when they're out of your vision. And for me,
mm.
that's absolutely the case. Because if I see someone I haven't seen for 10 years that I had a really strong relationship with, I still, in my head, have a really strong relationship with them, and no time's passed at all. So I'm just like
Yeah,
straight
yeah,
into it with them.
yeah,
And so that's my feeling with you, at least. So
yeah.
I don't think you need to feel bad or anything about that
Mm,
at all.
yeah. I mean, I'm super grateful and really appreciative.
And I was also likewise super happy to see that you booked this role, and ecstatic when I saw that you'd been nominated for a Logie.
Can I share something that's quite? Yeah, I'll just share it, just because I think it needs to be shared. I think during that period of family law, and during that, I'm not, and I'm sharing it because I feel like I'm noticing it sometimes with younger actors,
Hmm.
and also sometimes established and older actors as well. When I was during that family law period of time and after, and that ego that was driving a lot of my decisions, there is a sense where that you're up against people, right? That you're in
Hmm.
competition with other actors who are going for, say, the same role than to you. And coming from like as an Asian actor living in Australia, I want to really outline that that is not the case at all. The fact that the role exists, whoever gets it, is such a boon in your corner as well. It is, you are not competing with these actors. And this is something that I am a little bit ashamed that I only really wrap my head around, uh, not recently, but like I wish I'd wrapped my head around sooner rather than later. Because I think I'm in a period of time now where, like, when one of my friends lands a role that I auditioned for, I am just as happy for them as if, obviously there is that, if we're honest, if we're really like fucking brutally honest, there is the part of us that's like, I could have done that role. But it's not against that
Mm.
like I'm actually really happy, really, really happy. Whereas I think when I started out, I wasn't. If I'm going to share, like, if I'm going to be honest, I wasn't. And it was because I saw it as a competition. I saw it as like, them getting it meant that I didn't get it.
Yeah.
But it played a long game. It's not about that one role. It's like you landing a role is the same as being seen, so that more Asian roles are generated, and so that in the future, if 5 roles are written for an Asian character and you can't do one, that's like 4 of roles that's like now another person can take.
Yeah.
It's something that I'm quite ashamed to have noticed later in my career.
It's a really good lesson to learn, because none of it is a competition as much as everyone tries to make it out to be.
Yeah.
Because it's an art, it's subjective for one thing.
Mhm.
And two, we aren't running a race. We can't do something faster than someone and therefore be better. We can't do something and jump higher and be
Mhm.
better. You can't, no matter how good an actor you are, you can't be what you're not. So
Mhm.
for someone else to get a role that you went for isn't that they beat you, it's that they were right for it,
Precisely. Yeah.
you know? And
Yeah.
awesome,
Mm.
And look, some casting, they do get the wrong person. It
Mm.
doesn't, and sometimes an actor's put in a position that they shouldn't have been in,
Mm.
and it ruins their careers
Mhm.
because they're cast in something that doesn't fit them, that they aren't right for, and they look like they're a bad actor, and they're not. They've just been placed in a position which doesn't suit them.
Yeah.
Um, and so that's kind of like, probably took me a little bit to understand that too, but
Mm.
that's how I kind of feel going into it. and again, as I'm a hyper competitive person, like I have to
Mm.
constantly, consciously stop myself competing at things. Like if I play board games with people, it's a cerebral struggle up here of just not getting super competitive and letting that affect my emotions. I have to be like, we're just doing this for fun. If I lose, we can still have fun. But
Yeah.
in terms of acting, I probably learned it in a sense relatively early because I had to be able to switch that off because it was like I couldn't control it in that way. So I
Yeah.
had to say to myself, it's not a competition because my
Yeah.
brain just can't handle not winning a
Yeah.
competition. And so, yeah, being able to recognize, oh, it's not a competition because I can't win. No matter what I do, nothing I do can make me win this. All I can do is my thing. And if they want it, sweet. But otherwise, someone else's thing might be more to their taste. You know, in the same way, there's some paintings out there which I think are but ugly, but other people think are worth millions of dollars. So go figure. Do you have any final words you'd like to share, George? When does voting close for the Logies? That's probably go
Let's take
vote
a
for
look.
George.
Yeah, well, they close. It looks like they close up until voting for the Logie will close at 10 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, Sunday, the 16th of August. Like right up.
Well, then everybody go and vote for George in the what's the
Thank you.
name of the category? Here it is. Best actor in a comedy. So go
Best
vote
actor.
for George
Yes.
for TV Week Silver Logie for best actor in a comedy. You can vote right up until then. Maybe even try
Yeah.
to vote multiple times. I don't know if that's possible, but give it a go. George, you've definitely only voted once, I'm sure. No, but thank you so much for coming on, George. It's been
Of
a
course.
really interesting chat. I think even for the people who are listening or watching who aren't actors, exploring and understanding what we go through just to be put in a position to possibly be an actor should be a little bit eye-opening, I think.
I do feel like even after all these years in the industry, I still catch myself going, I don't know what I'm doing. Right? Like as much as I like there are certain things where I kind of I think I have a handle on it. For the most part, I'm still looking at myself in the industry and going, what am I doing? And I think because it's connected to stories, it's connected to people, it's connected, and like I'm never gonna meet everyone in the world. But yeah, getting to a point where you're kind of like, I don't know what I'm doing because I haven't met this kind of character, or like, what does this character want? I still feel really sometimes in certain situations like a fish out of water.
Yeah, well, now you get to have the experience of sitting in the audience at a major Australian awards night,
Just
waiting to see whether your name's called.
yeah,
And that's
yeah,
that in the same way, just getting the audition is a win. Getting the
exactly.
nom is a massive
Yeah.
win. So congratulations and
Thank you, Tak. Yeah,
chookers.
yeah.
I've got everything crossed for you. So, and thanks for
Thank you
coming
so
on.
much.
This was fun.
Thank you so much for the invite. Yeah, really appreciate it. Such a pleasure.
And that was George Zhao. Thank you, George Zhao. Thank you so much for coming on. And as a thanks, you should all go on to the TV Week Logie site and vote for George for the TV Week Silver Logie for Best Actor in a Comedy before voting closes on August 16th. And if you enjoyed the chat, hit the button. Hit the button. The subscribe or follow button. Please do it all. Come and join. Or do both. Join Patreon as well. I really, really, really want to foster this community as much as I can, and I'd love to have you over there too. There's some behind-the-scenes stuff I'm trying to put up there as well to give more stuff for you all at home so you can enjoy it even more. And obviously there's the exclusives that we provide there too. And the whole bit of don't do it on the app on your phone because it costs you 30% more, blah, blah, blah. But come on, just do it. You know you want to. Come on. And look, if you got to this point of the pod, you haven't switched off yet, you're the person that probably should. Let's be honest. Come on, do it. Do it. Unless you're just waiting for me to stop so your next episode just reloads. Well, I'm not going to do it until you join us. What are you going to do about it? Huh? Stupid. All right. That's it for this week. Hope you enjoyed that from me. I'll see you next time. That was George Zhao, and I am Just Takaya Honda. Thank you very much. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.